Well, the World Cup is really getting interesting. And of course, today we're going to talk about the little big man who keeps on breaking records, keeps on setting new ones. And of course, he keeps the world running. In just a week, Lionel Messi will be 39. And of course, he bagged his first hat trick in the history of the World Cup, setting him up alongside Miroslav Klose as the all-time top scorers, joint in the history of the World Cup. And Lionel Messi entered with Argentina this morning against the Desert Foxes of Algeria. We talked about the fact that in 1990, when Argentina were entering the World Cup as defending champions, they faltered, and that was against an African opposition in the shape of Cameroon. The Argentines lost by a goal to nil against Cameroon. Goal scored courtesy Francois Omampique, and that day Argentina played against 9 men down because the Cameroonian side went down by 10 men because Benjamin Massing and of course Andre Kanabik were all shown they were shown the red card. But the Cameroonian team managed to beat Argentina by a goal to nil. And of course, Argentina entered into this World Cup as defending champions. And in another twist, they met another African opposition in the shape of Algeria in their first game when they were defending the title. But this time around, Lionel Messi came with different ideas, scoring hat-trick. He scored first, but the goal was flagged as an offside. Faris Chaibi also scored, having a pass courtesy Ibrahim Maza, but the referee also flagged as an offside. Then came Lionel Messi, the little big man. He made sure he bagged the hat-trick. The Argentine is absolutely on fire. And interestingly, no team within this World Cup has its roster or a team that majority of the teams that won the World Cup are currently part of this setup. No team among the 48 has more than 8 players within the last World Cup coming back to this World Cup. And it shows you the tremendous improvement and of course the teamwork, the chemistry, the cohesion that the Argentines are having. But the big news is Lionel Messi is now joint all-time top scorer in the history of the World Cup with Miroslav Klose. And that was how he managed to do it with a perfect hat-trick for the Argentines yesterday. It was quite unfortunate that the Algerians couldn't match the prowess, the talent, the physique, the tenacity, the great play of the Argentines. Even without Julian Alvarez starting, the likes of Almada, deep in midfield, Alexis McAllister, Rodrigo De Paul, Enzo Fernandez, the Argentines were really flawless. And of course, trust me, Lionel Scaloni's men are in one of the hot favorites to win this competition. And if that happens, it means Argentina could add up to Italy and Brazil as the only teams to have ever won the World Cup and defended the title. But Lionel Messi is now the joint all-time top scorer in the history of the World Cup. Yesterday, Kylian Mbappe backed the brace and scoring 14 goals, just coming too shy behind Miroslav Klose. But Lionel Messi came with different ideas by tearing the record. Of course, Haaland also made his debut in the World Cup, and that was how the commentator said it. World Cup meets Ellen Haaland, and Ellen Haaland meets World Cup, kickstarting his World Cup debut with a brace, and that was Norway coming into the World Cup for the first time in 28 years when they meet Iraq, and they were too good for the Iraqi team. Even though Ayman Hussein, the guy who scored the goal to make sure the Iraqi team made it back onto the global stage for the first time in 40 years, equalized. But Erling Haaland came with different ideas, scoring twice, Ostigard, and of course, we saw how the Norwegian team managed to beat the hell out of Iraqi team. The likes of Akram Zinedine Iqbal came on in the second half, but it was quite tough for the Iraqi team, and they couldn't match up the prowess and the top marksman Erling Haaland. He was just playing alongside Alexander Schorle, just behind both guys was Arsenal midfielder Martin Odegaard. And of course, Antonio Nusa was quite flawless. The likes of Sander Berge, who came in the second half. Ostigard was also another guy, Christophe Agja. And the Norwegian team also showed great talent. And of course, and, Erling Haaland also marked his World Cup debut with a brace, which was also quite fantastic. Let's take a look at what happens today. And we're going to be seeing big guns, Portugal entering into the World Cup. Today, they're going to be meeting returnees DR Congo. Portugal ever perennial underachievers in the history of the World Cup. Their only best performance was in 1966 when they came third, and asked when England hosted the competition during the days of Eusebio, the Black Panther. But unfortunately, Portugal have never reached in the finals of the World Cup. The only closest also you can talk about was in 2006 in Germany when they were when they were semi-finalists, losing against France, and of course losing against Germany in the third place game. But Cristiano Ronaldo and his charges has made sure that they are back. Since the emergence of Cristiano Ronaldo, Portugal have attended all the World Cup tournaments. From 1966, Portugal were one of the teams struggling to make it into the World Cup. But in 2002, they were there. And since the emergence of Cristiano Ronaldo in 2004 as a 17-year-old teenager in the Euros when they hosted the competition and eventually lost to Portugal, Portugal have arrived at any World Cup tournament from Germany 2006 up to date. And of course, they're going to be entering in that game against DR Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, who had the opportunity of making it to the World Cup for the first time in 52 years after winning the African playoffs against Nigeria in the finals. They went on board in the Interconfederation playoffs where they met the Reggae Boys of Jamaica. And of course, we saw Axel Tuanzebe, the former Manchester United defender who scored the only goal of that game when Democratic Republic of Congo secured their place into the World Cup for the first time in 52 years in an expanded 48 team. And DR Congo will not be an easy task for the Portuguese team. Trust me, they're going to match up the Portuguese. And interestingly, the DR Congo side have a perfect back line. They don't concede much. They have a very good goalkeeper, Lionel Mpasi. The back line is very strong. Ata Masuaku on the left, Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right. In the center of the defense is Chancel Mbemba Mangulu, the captain, and of course, Axel Tuanzebe, the scorer of the goal in the Interconfederation playoff. For Portugal, I think they have probably the perfect midfield than any other team within the World Cup. I mean, to have Joao Neves, Vitinha, and of course, Bruno Fernandes tells you the depth of quality that they have in midfield. And of course, leading the line, Cristiano Ronaldo, Goncalo Ramos. On the sidelines, they're going to be having the likes of Conceição, Bernardo Silva, and you cannot forget Rafael Leao, Pedro Neto of Chelsea, who can also add a lot of quality. At the back line, having the likes of Inacio, Ruben Diaz of Manchester City, and then of course, Joao Cancelo, who just won the title with Barcelona in this season that ended. I mean, being the first player to win 4 titles in the 4 top leagues, in Italy with Juve, in Spain with Barcelona, in England with Manchester City, and of course in Germany with Bayern Munich. So Joao Cancelo has he's one of the guys who has set a huge record for himself, and of course he's going to be among the backline within the Portuguese setup with goalkeeper Diogo Costa. Roberto Martinez, who we've been told that he's going to leave the side immediately after World Cup, will be lining up his team. And I think the Portuguese team have a strong side. My weakest concern for them is the front line. Probably Cristiano Ronaldo might be leading the line, but the pacey nature we used to know him is not there. And of course, he can get in the goals, especially with the tap-ins. But unfortunately, to give up high press whenever you want to set up a press and make sure you keep up the pressure on the back line is something that they're going to be find trouble in. So let's see whether the coach can be bold, or maybe he will still maintain with Cristiano Ronaldo in the heart of the attack for the Portuguese. But I think the Portuguese team will start at favorites against Democratic Republic of Congo in a game which promised to be a tough encounter. Portugal have been meeting African countries. In 2006, I remember they met Angola. They beat Angola by a goal to nil. And of course, in 2010, they drew goalless against les Éléphants de la Côte d'Ivoire, the Elephants of Ivory Coast, in 2010. Of course, in 2014 in Brazil, they beat the Black Stars of Ghana by 2-1. I remember in that instance when they met the Black Stars of Ghana in that tournament. And of course, in 2018, they beat Iran by a goal to nil. They beat Morocco, rather. They beat Morocco by a goal to nil. And of course, in the last World Cup again, they met the Black Stars of Ghana and they beat the Black Stars of Ghana by 3-2. So it tells you that consistently Portugal have been meeting African teams from January 2006 up till the last World Cup that has happened in Qatar 2022. And today they're entering into the competition against a fellow African sides, That is the Leopards of Democratic Republic of Congo. The Congo's team also have some kind, at least fine guys to watch out. The likes of Noah Sadiki deep in midfield, Aaron Mukau, one of the brilliant sides for Lille in the French Liga, and of course you cannot forget for me my midfielder within the Democratic Republic of Congo team. That is Samuel Matusami, formerly of Nantes, who now plays his trade with Atromitos in the Greek league. He's also one kind midfielder. For them, their weakest link is also going to be Cedric Bakangu. He's aging, almost getting to 35. He can't run. He can't give you high pressing whenever you want to press the back line. Yuan Wissa is going to be around. The likes of Sipenga. And of course, we can't forget the likes of uh, Nathaniel Mbuku within the Sata. Noah Sadiki is going to be around, like I earlier on said, in midfield. But I believe the Portuguese team will definitely start as favorites in that game against the Democratic Republic of Congo. And of course, is the World Cup coming home? Since 1966, the World Cup has not been home. We all thought in 2018 the English team will try as much as possible to bring the trophy back home. It couldn't happen. They went into two consecutive European Nations Tournament finals, losing against Italy in Wembley and losing against Spain in Germany. The English team, the Three Lions, kickstarts their journey at the 2026 FIFA World Cup against Croatia. Trust me, it's going to be a KG encounter. The Croatian team were the English adversaries in 2018 in Russia when they defeated the English team by 2-1. And I remember that day perfectly when Mario Mandzukic scored that goal, the second goal for the Croatians to set up the Croatian team in the finals against the French. And of course, I know English team will be having this at the back of their mind that they have to seek a revenge in this World Cup. A 12 group, including Croatia, England, the Black Stars of Ghana, and of course, Panama. Thomas Tuchel was criticized for his squad, especially withdrawing some players, dropping them, the likes of Cole Palmer, the likes of Phil Foden, the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold. But he believes he still got the talent to do the job. Anthony Gordon is going to be around. And of course, who else? The big man, Harry Kane. Morgan Rogers has been in top form for Aston Villa, helping them to secure the UEFA Europa League title in the recent season just ended when they defeated Freiburg and even scored in that game. Jude Bellingham did not see much of himself in that recent season that ended with Real Madrid. But trust me, the English team have squad depth. In as much as you can talk about those players who have been withdrawn, who have been dropped from the squad, I've forgotten to even talk about the likes of Jared Bowen and of course Morgan Gibbs-White. All these guys have been left on. Recently, just a day ago or so, Tino Livramento withdrew from the squad, and of course, Trevor Chaluba has been included. But Thomas Tuchel has received his bashing for how he handled the selection ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which is going to be coming on. Of course, the English team have some top talents. Injury concerns for Bukayo Saka, who might not start within the game. I think he might not start. Maybe Noni Madueke, his Arsenal teammate, might be given the opportunity to mind the right side of the attack for the English side. And of course, Anthony Gordon on the left with Jude Bellingham playing just behind Harry Kane. And of course, setting up the team in the double pivot will be Elliot Anderson of Nottingham Forest. And of course, Declan Rice, the player who just won the best player within the Premier League recently. Declan Rice, he's going to be around. And of course, at the back line, we're going to be seeing John Stones, Ezri Konsa, Rhys James on the right, and informed Nico O'Reilly of Manchester City, who recently won the FA Cup title and of course the Carabao Cup title with them, with goalkeeper Jordan Pickford in goal post. But trust me, you cannot downplay the Croatian team in as much as they're getting aging. The big man, the little big man, Luka Modric is now almost 40. Ivan Perisic is almost in the twilight of his career, almost around 37. But trust me, Mateo Kovacic is going to be around. Andrej Kramaric is going to be around. Nikola Vlasic is going to be around. At the defense, Stanisic of Bayern Munich is also going to be around. Josko Vardiol of Manchester City. Domenico Livaja and goalkeeper Dominik Livakovic. Zlatko Dalic team has been quite strong and they built consistency for some couple of years now within the 8 or 9 year or so years that he's had with the team. I mean, becoming third in the World Cup in Russia 2018, second, yeah, rather, as the runner-up, losing to France, and of course, coming third in the last World Cup in Qatar 2022, tells you the huge amount of work that Coach Zlatko Dalic and his side has put in their work for the Croatian national team. It promised to be a very, very tough one between England and Croatia, which comes off also today. It's a huge one, game of fine margins, but I see England having a narrow win in that game, which comes off when England play against Croatia in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This has been the podcast channel with our thank you.